All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be breaking down the showdown slate here between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, guys, I do want to start off with calling out, we have had some strange line movement from this game. The game totals actually went down about 2.5 total points. If you guys remember last week, the Rams were in a game against the Bears that was projected to be a pretty high-scoring game and ultimately ended up being more of a defensive struggle. Maybe that's what's occurring. Maybe there's just a lot of public money coming in on the under. Just an interesting thing there. Maybe not as high-scoring as maybe it was initially projected to be, or it might end up being a little bit higher scoring due to the initial lines that we were getting for this game, and maybe that makes some plays a little bit more in play from the positional side. Like maybe a tight end, 2 tight ends we're looking at instead of like a kicker or something like that for DFS purposes. Now, it is still a 2.5 point spread, so that, a close game still. Now, when we go ahead and take a peek at kind of the injury news here, guys, nothing like too crazy right now as it would seem. Sam Darnold is apparently good to go, does not hold an injury destination. Now, it is worth calling out, we have seen something similar to this, like Josh Jacobs against the Chicago Bears did not carry an injury destination into that game and ended up playing like 10% of the snaps. I'm not saying Darnold's going to play 10% of the snaps or whatever, but I am saying like to go from not being able to throw the football in practices a week ago to not having an injury destination, I don't know, that seems a little fishy to me. But if he's like, he is the difference maker of the slate. If he is good to go, he is someone that we obviously need to be playing in our showdown builds. If he's a little bit banged up, well, then we got to consider whether or not we should be playing JSN all that much. That's a big decision maker for us. And if we're not playing them, then we're probably are looking at Kenneth Walker in the captain spot, banking on him having a big game. That being said, we also know that Zach Charbonnet is going to be out. And so we got to figure out which running back is actually going to be the running back that we want to target as like the backup running back, or if we even need to do that. Kenneth Walker ended up getting about 70% of the work when Zach Charbonnet got injured. And due to them having their third string running back also banged up, we saw Velus Jones actually get the most amount of work. He's apparently going to be active. Cam Akers is also going to be active, which is strange to me. And then George Holani as well, who is the third string running back, who I expect to get some of the Zach Charbonnet role. Like he's probably going to play about 20% of the snaps. That's my expectation. And if he does, then I think this price tag is a little bit too low for him, and I think he becomes a very appealing kind of punt play. But given the fact that Jones and Akers are both active, I'm getting off of that take a little bit. Now, I don't mind it if you have to get to value. I still think he's like the most logical option for the Seahawks value-wise, but I also don't know if we necessarily need to get down that low. So for me, guys, what I am going to be looking at is just mostly Kenneth Walker in the captain spot. I don't mind the idea of getting a JSN. I don't know if, again, do we have to play Sam Darnold? I don't know. Again, he doesn't hold an injury destination. That's tough for me to believe. Let me know in the comment section, honestly, where are you at with Sam Darnold? Like, is he 100%? Is he 80%? Like, what are we expecting out of him? Because to me, that is, again, the biggest difference maker on this slate. Shaheed, he's kind of one of those players that I consider a better captain play than flex play. So if you're going to be on him, be overexposed to him in the captain spot. I would actually be like, if you want to play him, maybe 15% in the captain spot, maybe 5% in the flex. Like, I don't mind that, because if he's going to have a big game, he probably will be in the GPP winning lineup. AJ Barner's fine at his price tag, guys. Cooper Kupp, to me, is clearly too cheap. Will he be in the GPP winning lineup? Probably not, but he's also someone that like won't ultimately hurt you in like a cast or single entry build. The issue I'm having is that the Seahawks are the favorites to win. I'm struggling to play all that many Seahawks. So we look at the Rams, they're going to be easier to get to. So I do think it's kind of simple. I do think we're going to play Puka Nacua, kind of expect him to have a good game. In that last game against the Bears, guys, no one could catch the football. It was very sloppy offensively due to that. Obviously, it was a cold game. It's about 20 to 30 degrees warmer there in Seattle today. So I expect him to be good to go. And if he is good to go, then we're also kind of expecting Matthew Stafford to also be, good to go. You'd expect him to throw for a touchdown. And then I kind of want to get to Kyren Williams as well. I think Kyren Williams will be a solid play once again, playing about 60% of the snaps. If you aren't playing Kyren Williams, it's kind of twofold. I would rather play Matthew Stafford in the captain spot then, because one, you're betting on Kyren to not score rushing touchdowns, or you begin to Blake Corum, who is probably too cheap. Now, last game, he did not do that much work. I was actually surprised by that. It was very much the Kyren Williams show. Could have been a little bit of the hot hand, like right in the hot hand there. Snap share-wise, it was about the same, but workload-wise, it was very spread out. Now, again, if you're not playing Kyren, you probably do want to get to Blake Corum, but you guys can already see, like, trying to jam in the top plays is obviously a difficult part about tonight's slate. If we're looking for some value, I do like the idea again to Colby Parkinson. He draws arguably the best matchup in the game offensively. He is splitting work at the tight end position. We saw a lot less 13 personnel last week than we have seen previous weeks. Maybe Tyler Higbee gets going. If he was cheaper, I think he's more in play. But I think if we're going to like punt to a tight end play, we would just want to get to Terrence Ferguson, who I thought might have had a concussion last week. But actually, last week was weird, guys. I don't know if you guys were watching the game. A lot of players got up slow and probably went to concussion protocol just because they landed on the cold ground. And I don't know if you guys have ever played in a game like that. It sucks. You are just getting up slow. But I thought he had a concussion, and apparently he's good to go. And if he's good to go, I'm fine punting to him value-wise. Like, he's my favorite punt play value-wise. He almost had a big play last week. I do think he has a decent chance to score a touchdown. He's also someone that I could consider being like a better play in the captain spot than flex play, just because you are basically playing him to score a touchdown. And hey, it might be an easy way to get 15 DFS points and be able to create a unique lineup. So the issue today is obviously we can't jam in all the studs. Where do we make a pivot? And I will say, if we are playing Kyron, the pivot is probably Stafford, which I don't like. And if we're doing this lineup like this, guys, I will say I don't like having $800 left over as well. I think that ends up being pretty ugly as well. And so this ends up being a very weird lineup to not have any Matthew Stafford or Sam Darnold in this, especially when we're in Ferguson in the captain spot. But I do think this kind of presents the highest floor build that we can kind of make. And I say kind of because, I mean, Vegas does think it's going to be more of a defensive struggle. As I mentioned, as we progress, they kind of said that their initial line of 48.5 was just wrong. And so, as always, guys, I'd like to take a peek at what the 9-5 lineup builder is spitting out to us as the top builds, and somewhat along the same path, which is interesting. Okay, so Walker in the captain, then Puka, JSN, so no difference there. Parkinson as a value, which again, I really like Parkinson as a value. I kind of want to set a rule, and I do think this is a good rule. We want at least one of Higbee, Ferguson, or Parkinson in our builds because they're all too cheap, and we're kind of just trying to figure out which one's going to end up scoring a touchdown. I think that ends up being a great rule to set. After that, ticket to cap, and then the only difference is Barner, which I am okay with that. Sam Darnold, the captain, gets the JSN then. Jake Bobo, I don't think we need to do that. It's probably a little too thin. I would rather go Ferguson. Let's see the top build with Stafford as the QB. So Stafford as the captain, JSN, Walker, Adams, Higbee, Ferguson. That's honestly not a terrible lineup path. Obviously, you're not getting to Puka, but then you're getting to the other players that would decently benefit there. Probably rather get to Parkinson instead, but again, not a terrible route to go. Kind of an open game, but also it's condensed in terms of who we're going to be looking at. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Again, if you guys could leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Really trying to get to 500 subscribers before the Super Bowl. If you guys can help do that, that is greatly appreciated. But I'll do it for this video, guys. Good luck with your lineups. And as always, let's keep cashing.